Hej och välkomna till avsnitt nummer 11 av CF-nyheter. Mitt namn är Andreas Sandström och idag kommer jag att intervjua en man som har en intressant historia och har hållit på med crossfit ett tag och även tävlat på en rätt hög nivå. Han är adaptiv atlet så att säga. Hans namn är Hilton Jones och tänkte att det kan vara kul att höra hans historia kring hur det är att träna med som ni kommer få höra, endast ett ben egentligen, eller en protes och ett ben. Liksom. Hur gick hela hans skada till och så vidare. Så jag tror att ni kommer gilla det här. Vi kommer förhoppningsvis även få en liten uppfattning om hur han ser på tävlingar inom CrossFit Games och att tävla inom CrossFit och att tävla som adaptiv atlet. Framförallt på Games men även i andra tävlingar och hur det skiljer sig åt. Så det ska bli intressant. Förhoppningsvis har vi han här på luren alldeles strax. Innan Hilton kommer så tänkte jag bara säga att det här avsnittet släpps lite senare. Jag har haft problem även med lite Spotify-uppladdningar, så avsnittet med Charlie Karlsson verkar tyvärr inte gå att ladda upp på Spotify riktigt än av någon teknisk anledning som jag inte riktigt har koll på. Jag jobbar på det och så länge får ni väl se det på YouTube. Det här avsnittet kommer alltså laddas upp söndagen den 28. Och förhoppningsvis så löser vi det här med Spotify också inom kort. Så ser det ut. Mitt mål här med egentligen den här podcasten framöver är att kunna spela in sådana här intervjuer och ha med lite fler gäster. Och då kommer prioriteringen ligga på att ladda upp på YouTube. Förhoppningsvis så skulle jag ju kunna ladda upp även på Spotify. Det hade varit guld. Men som det ser ut nu så verkar någonting stoppat tekniskt, i alla fall för det senaste avsnittet. Så vi får hoppas på att Spotify är snälla med mig med det här avsnittet i alla fall. Så ser det ut. Det kommer även komma ett bonusavsnitt nästa vecka med 3 stycken gäster förhoppningsvis. Det återstår inte att se, utan jag håller det lite secret sådär. Men se fram emot det. Det kommer mitt i veckan. Troligtvis. Och nästa vecka så kommer vi nog även att släppa ett avsnitt med han som håller i alla throwdown events, eller ett par av de eventsen som heter throwdown, Roger Gillrås, som har blivit väldigt stor både här i Sverige och Norge när det gäller tävlingsarrangemang. Så att, håll utkik för det också. Jag ska även nämna att jag har skapat en tävlingskalender där jag försöker samla alla tävlingar i Sverige och Skandinavien och även större tävlingar i Europa utefter ett kalenderschema egentligen, utefter ett datumschema. Och där självklart även Games och V3Fs funktionella fitness tävlingssäsong är inkorporerat i det där. Som SM och VM och EM och så vidare. Och CrossFit Games och alla semifinaler och så. Så jag länkar det i beskrivningen. Det är ett Google Docs-format. Och är det så att man saknar någonting där så mejla mig. Det finns informationen i Google Doc. Så ska jag försöka, med så mycket information jag har, så ska jag försöka lösa så att vi kan få ut det helt enkelt så snabbt som möjligt. Så ja, nu inväntar vi Hilton, tänker jag. Hello, Hilton. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, this is going to be interesting, I think. As I said to everybody in the introduction here, your name is Hilton Jones, and we'll take it in English because you're from Great Britain, right?
Yeah, I was born in Scotland.
Oh, okay, Scotland. Nice. Where in Scotland?
Stirling, so right in the middle of Glasgow and Edinburgh, in the middle.
All right. Yeah, nice. I want to get to know you a little bit better, and I think from what I know about you on social media, I think that it's worthy for the Swedish audience to get to know you a little bit better as well. You're a pretty good athlete, I would say, from what I've seen on the leaderboards. Correct me if I'm wrong here. You've been competing in both the Open, of course, but as well as Waterpalooza and the Wheelwad, right?
Exactly, yes. And I also went to Marbella, not last year, but the year before. That was my first in-person competition.
All right. Pretty cool. So, for the people that don't know, tell me a little bit more about you as an athlete, as a person. Like, who are you and what do you do for a living, basically?
Okay. So yes, I work as an assistant editor. So I work a lot of the time with Netflix in the post-production side of things. So as an assistant editor, I get the material they've been filming on set, and I put it back together with the sound, organize it in bins for the main editors who do the creative part of it. I just keep everything quite organized, and when they're ready with a scene that they're happy with, then I pass that along to the director or the producer or whoever it is, and keep a link between what's happening on set with what's happening in the editing suite.
All right.
That's been my main job since I moved to Sweden. So for about 13, 14 years now.
Okay. Where do you live in Sweden?
I live in Stockholm. I live in Solna.
All right.
So,
you work out at Vici, right? Vici Athletics?
Exactly. I work at a few different places. I was coaching at Vici and also at Extreme Fabriken. And so I've been working out at both of those places, but also I've started working out at CrossFit Nordic as well. My coach is at CrossFit Nordic, so it's easier if I can go there and train with him. Nice to get some in-person things, but up until now it's been mainly Vici and Extreme Fabriken.
All right. Who is your coach?
His name is Ted Hillian is his name. So he's working over at CrossFit Nordic.
Okay. And how did you get in touch with him?
I started working alongside him at Vici, and I was also going to, as well as coaching there, I was going to his classes. He was always particularly good at weightlifting in a way that made sense to me, explaining things in a way that just clicked. And the other thing that I really like about him is he doesn't hide behind niceties. He tells you exactly what he thinks. And he has a very good sense of humor, which is sometimes a little bit on the side of mean, but he means it in a good way. So, for example, I put on about 10 kilos during my wife's pregnancy. It was a very difficult pregnancy. So she was stuck in the apartment all the time. She couldn't even go for a walk. So it meant a lot of the time I was sat next to her, and then I started snacking and then eating some bad foods. I put on about 10 kilos in about 9 months. And now he calls that 10 kilos my weight vest. So he says, we need to lose your weight vest and then your gymnastics is going to get better again. So it's those kind of comments that keeps me coming back to Ted.
All right. I see. Yeah, some harsh love, or how you call it, like some harsh words, but with love behind them, basically. I can appreciate that as well.
It's very difficult. It's difficult to find that balance, I think, of
It is. And also you were speaking about how he talked to you about weightlifting. I think that's, like, I'm also a coach, so I think that's a very important part of when you're coaching someone, that you sort of click with the athlete on how you present, or how you basically help them get further along with the technique and everything when it comes to weightlifting, or other movements as well, of course. But I think a lot of coaches I've seen, they get stuck in, like, I have to tell it this way to everybody. And I think that's a bit, I don't know about what you think, but I think you have to find for each athlete how to speak to them. And if Ted is doing that to you in a good way, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely it works for me. So yeah, I'm not changing.
I understand. So I would like to get to know you a bit about your I don't know, could you call it a disability? Because I mean, it
Exactly.
is, right? But
Yeah,
you have a, I don't know the English word. It's a protes in Swedish, like
prosthesis. Yeah.
prosthesis.
So yeah, it's a disability. That's the
Yeah.
correct word, I think. And yeah, so the story behind it, it was caused by an accident in India, quite a long time ago now. I was trying to calculate it in my head, and then I realized I'm really old. So it was
Okay.
30 years ago when I was
Oh,
20 years old. So yeah, so easier to calculate now that I'm 50, because yeah, big
yeah.
numbers.
Well, yeah, I understand. What happened when, like you said, it was an accident? So what actually happened? Like,
So I
why
was
were you in India? Let's start
uh,
there.
that's a good question. I was traveling. My idea was to become a travel photographer, and I had talked a little bit with a couple of different magazines, and I had a whole route planned around India. And I was just starting off. I'd been there a couple of times before. I'd spent nearly 9 months in India before that.
All right.
But yeah, I fell in love with the place for sure. And so yeah, I was 2 weeks I think into the trip, and I bumped into a couple of friends, and we were traveling around very late at night in Agra, where the Taj Mahal is. And the idea was to find a hotel and maybe even take some pictures that night. But yeah, as we were driving around in it's auto rickshaw, so a motorcycle taxi, so a motorcycle in the front, seats in the back. So I was sitting in the front with the driver, and my two friends in the back with all the bags and everything. And a truck came from behind and then just crashed into the back of us. And somehow I went under the truck. I got thrown out of the tuk-tuk, and then dragged along underneath. So my foot was somehow caught underneath it, but as I was dragged along, my arm went underneath there. So I still have metal in here, and my hand was completely destroyed in the accident as well. So I had metal joints in all of the fingers. They went in, and actually they took the metal out through the same scars as well. Very, very good surgery.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was very lucky to live. My friends had to get a car to take us to the hospital. And then when I got to the hospital, it was a tiny little hospital, not even the main hospital in Agra, like a tiny one on the outside. They just bandaged me up as best they could. And then obviously, because nothing was cleaned, I wasn't in the best sanitary conditions. So I got septicemia and gangrene. And so if I'd stayed any longer in India, I was there for 10 days after the accident. If I'd stayed one more day, they were going to amputate my arm here and my leg at the hip, and they were going to take these fingers off as well. So I would have just had the thumb and the first finger there, and my life would have been incredibly different. So I think that was always for me something that stopped me from feeling sorry for myself, was that I realized how lucky I was, and that I should have, maybe I could have died very easily in the accident. So I think I always had that feeling like, okay, well, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So, but they flew me back to the UK. It was the British Embassy eventually got involved, and so yeah, I started my recovery in the UK. They did one more amputation just below my knee, so I still have my knee on that side. They put the metal in and managed to control the gangrene and the septicemia. I can't remember, probably about 20 days where my fever was so high and they couldn't control the infection. So yeah, definitely lucky.
Yeah. You sound like that sound like, yeah, you were lucky, I think, especially when it comes to, like, even if, like, you managed to get out of the situation alive, that's one part of it, but also the fact that you you were able to survive after the fact that you didn't get the like complete treatment in India as well. Like that wasn't sanitized, and it sounds terrible. Like, I mean,
there's
we're
another
happy
little, there's another little twist in this in the story as well, which is when I lost so much blood while I was there because my toes were ripped off in the accident, and I'd lost a lot. So they gave me blood when I was in India, but it was so long ago that they didn't screen it for a lot of the diseases that now they would always screen for. So I didn't think much about it. When I got back to the UK, they were very worried about HIV. So I got tested for that, of course, but they didn't test me for anything else. So I didn't think about it for a lot of time. And it wasn't until I moved back to Sweden and actually moved to Sweden. That was when I got a full blood check, and I thought I'll get everything tested now, just because I wasn't feeling that great in myself. I was working as an underwater scuba instructor and an underwater videographer. And when I was diving, the water was very warm in Thailand, 30 degrees. And I was getting freezing underwater. And I knew something, I was so tired all the time. I knew something was wrong. So I think that was what made me think, okay, I'll get my blood checked properly. And they said, well, how have you been dealing with hepatitis C that you have? And I said, well, I don't have hepatitis C. This is a mistake. And they said, no, you have hepatitis C. You've had it for probably this amount of time, and you probably got it in this region because they can tell from the genotype that you have. So they narrowed it down to India, and they narrowed it down to, exactly. So I'd had it for about 20 years or something without knowing. And then, so it was a little bit scary when I found out. But that was why I was feeling so ill. And the treatment for hepatitis C was a couple of different drugs for 1 year. And one of the things they told you to do while you were taking this treatment was find a way of dealing with the side effects. The side effects were so strong that they caused depression, and they caused a lot of aggression. So one thing they said is, like, you should start training, you should start doing some exercise, and use that as a way of keeping yourself happy and balanced. And so I started going to Friskis and Sweatis, and that was very much the beginning of the whole training thing, because before that I wasn't really interested in sports apart from the scuba diving. Scuba diving was a big thing for me. But then suddenly it became the gym, and I loved to channel the aggression and frustration and everything into the gym. But it was very solitary, and I knew I needed to find something else at some point to make it more fun. It was a good use of the energy, but it was a dark energy that kind of kept going round in circle, headphones on, some angry hip hop music, and not really the thing that I needed at that point. So I kept looking for a long time. I found a few different sports, but that was very much the beginning of testing it out. And of course, with Stockholm, Bruce was a natural thing for me. I don't know if you know the Bruce membership, that you're a member of, you pay a monthly thing, and then you can try out different gyms, you can try out different sports and whatever. You don't have full membership at any of the gyms, but you have certain times and certain quotas that you can go to. So I started off trying, they had their own boot camp thing, which was very much a kind of soft version of CrossFit. But the main thing I thought was do the most stupid thing that a guy with one leg can do. So like a tough Viking was my idea. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do tough Viking. No one's going to see that coming. I wrote to them. I said, have you ever had a person with one leg doing it before? And they said, no, we did have a blind person doing it a couple of years ago. And I was thinking, it's a little bit different. Maybe that's not quite the same thing. But so they were very sweet about it. And they said, okay, well, if you want to try, you can come and try for free. And so then I thought, okay, I need to start training everything that I can train. So I tried some strongman, I started running, everything that I could to make that tough Viking a bit easier. and it was great. I loved it. It was so much fun.
Nice to hear. I mean, I think everybody that listens to this understands that dealing with depression or some kind of anxiety, if it comes from medicine or other areas, movement overall is very, very helpful. So I guess, I mean, when you started at Friskis, I'm just guessing that that would help. But as you said, you had some dark thoughts and like you were on your own at Friskis, and sometimes that can actually become a negative spiral. I've seen for myself, like, because I also started at the gym. So CrossFit or any other kind of more social active type of training, I think, is only even more beneficial for dealing with that kind of side effects, and you get another form of dopamine effect than from just going alone to the gym, I think. And it seems like it helped you, because don't get me wrong here, or don't get me wrong, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here. This is the path to starting CrossFit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So when did you actually start CrossFitting?
I looked it up earlier to have the right date to tell you. So I've written it down over here. 2018 in December, that was my first real CrossFit class.
So 6 years ago.
Yeah, nice. That time has gone very quickly. So that was with Emma Tal. She was the coach at Vici at that point.
Yeah, and David was also there, right?
Exactly. So so I was lucky enough to get coached by them, and also just incredibly inspired by them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it just hearing them working out in the next room when you're just doing your your wall balls was just like this fire that you just thought, okay, I can try a little bit harder. And very cool to see.
The presence of like big athletes or very, very competitive athletes actually helps a lot. Yeah.
And very good coaches as well. And they were always very, very sympathetic and kind. And David was very interesting. He was interested in how to work with my disability and with the prosthetic. And I remember very clearly with the rowing machine, he said that maybe if I had 2 different settings because I can't move my ankle, he suggested maybe I have 1 foot pedal on 3 and 1 foot pedal on 2. So then I could use my leg much more, and it worked. It was a moment of genius there. So I still do it when I have I stagger the pedals when I have a longer row, for sure.
Yeah. So you said you crushed your toes, and was it on both feet or was it on one foot? Like
it was on one foot. The other leg was not broken, but that 1 foot was also above the knee was broken in about 20 different places. So I had to have metal put in there. I still have that metal in above the knee, but having my knee makes a really big difference and puts me in a different category than, of course, the above the knee guys. So. And that's the best thing about WheelWOD, is that they have a very good classification system to make it fair when we're competing against each other. If it's different disabilities, they modify the workout to make sure that everyone's doing the same amount of work and something that's fair. They've been doing it for so long that it's only right that they started to run the CrossFit Games now for adaptive.
Yes, and for the audience that don't know, the WheelWOD is a company that basically makes adaptive competitions and adaptive programming as well, I think. And they have gotten the chance to program all the adaptive divisions for this year's CrossFit Games, from, correct me if I'm wrong here, from open down to the actual games part, right, to the finale.
Exactly. Yeah. There's only one mid stage, so there's the semi-finals, and then it's the games after that. We don't have a quarterfinals. So.
No, all right. But you do have an open, right?
Yeah. So the open will happen at the same time, and I think the semi-final will happen at the same time, but for us it will be online only.
Online, yeah, okay.
And then our finals will happen after the CrossFit Games finals for the elites and everyone else. So I think it happens a month or so later. I have to check. At the moment, I'm trying not to think too much about it because I'm just one step at a time. I really hope to make it to the semis if I can. I'll think about the finals if I make it to the semis.
I understand. How does it work with like, for example, because you are in the division lower extremity, right?
Yes, exactly.
And I mean, lower extremity could be, as you said before, the wheel wad is very good at adapting for every type of athlete, so that it will be a fair competition. But how does that, like, in practice, how does that work? So let's say you have someone with one leg and someone with two legs that are not working as legs, so to speak, if you understand what I mean.
Exactly.
Like where both will be in the lower extremity, right? So yeah.
So for example, when we did Wadapalooza, I think is a good example, because you had the above knee guys. So like, I don't know if you know who Derek Wider is. Derek Wider. He's an American guy that's he's a insane athlete, very, very cool guy. And I've been following him for years on social media, and he was definitely one of the reasons why I started training. Very, very inspirational. And to be there in the same division with him was like a dream come true. But for him, it's so much harder without the knee. So then some of the workouts were modified where he was, instead of doing a thruster as a normal thruster, he was doing a thruster to a box, because without the knee, it's almost impossible. You're doing you're doing a pistol, otherwise like a pistol thruster, which is a little bit unfair. Then sometimes the weights would be different. I mean, there's very often with wheel wad, they want you to do the same workout anyway, so not to modify it too much, but to find out really what is the limit of what that person can do. And even within the same division, there are some people who have multiple disabilities that mean that they have to make an exception to the classification again. So maybe they are upper, they're missing an arm and a leg as well, and then then that needs to be changed as well. But they always find a way of making everything fair, and sometimes it's trial and error. There's always going to be new things that come up, but they do an amazing job. So I'm very happy that they're taking over the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, it feels like well, it looks like they know what they're doing, and I think that's just a good thing to have that kind of knowledge. Also be, how do I say that in English? Like, also running the show, because I think it's not fair if the CrossFit Games team runs a competition they don't know that much about. I don't know. You've seen the games before in the adaptive divisions. What would you say that they could have done better as an organization, if you understand what I'm there? I think this is the right decision, that they get wheel wad into the business, so to say. But like, what could they have done better? Because we have other competitions that also run adaptive competitions, so they might be listening. I don't know, but it could be some good thoughts there.
I think that one of the best things about wheel wad is that the people, the main coaches, they all are adaptive athletes themselves. So they are able to talk from a point of view that they actually really know what they're talking about. They know where to push it in terms of the sense of humor. That's one of the best things working with. So it's Kevin Ogar, Chris Stoutenberg, and John Prescott. So two wheelchair athletes. And when they're doing the briefing at the beginning of, like, for example, Wheelwad, we went to in 2022, everyone was disabled in the whole competition. So the amount of jokes that were flying around, and he was obviously not walking. He was rolling up and down in the front, talking to everyone, and everyone was like, "Can't hear you, stand up." And all these jokes that you would never be able to get away with if you were able-bodied talking to disabled people. So I think it's like a unique situation where, everyone that's working with Wheelwad has that close connection that makes it possible to really empathize in a different kind of way. But I think that last year, if you were watching the coverage, what they did was when CrossFit was still running the Open for the Adaptive, they took the top 5 in each division from the Open, and then they went directly to the Games. So that's the top 5 in the world doing Open style workouts. And then deciding from that who's the top 5 in the world. And then
it's not a whole complete fitness competition.
No, exactly. And so, like, all the more technical movements that you'd normally expect in the quarters and the semis, like, they didn't get to do any of those. So it was not really a fair test. I don't doubt that it wasn't the top 5 in the world. I think I don't know if you've seen Rogan Dean, the Australian guy. He won it last year.
Yeah.
But that workout, it was the thruster workout. Like, you finished on a max effort thruster on one of the Open workouts.
Yeah, 23 point something. I don't remember. 2,
yeah,
I think.
2, I think. And I was so happy. I think I PR'd. I think I got about 80 kilos or something like that. Very, very happy. He got 130 kilos on a thruster. Same, missing the same leg as me, below the knee, the same as me. And that's when it's just like, okay, no excuses there. He really deserves this one. But
I mean, that's impressive.
He trains with Matt Fraser now. He's one of the HWPO team.
Yeah.
So we'll see this year.
Nice. I mean, as I said, I think Wheelwad this is a great move, both from CrossFit Games, that they have the sort of like understanding that we don't know enough. We want this to be held by some people that know a lot more than us. What would you say, like, I think everybody should try. I think everybody should watch some adaptive competitions as well. But what would you say needs to happen in order for more people to watch the adaptive divisions? Because I think it feels like people are not watching it a lot, and the same goes for master divisions. I mean, of course, the senior divisions will always be watched the most, but there seemed to be some kind of we need to focus more on adaptive masters and teens as well, but no one is really watching it, and no one is really engaging in it that is not an adaptive athlete themselves. What would you say to that, if you understand my question?
It's a really good. In fact, I forgot to say when you were asking what CrossFit should have done, maybe the media coverage was shocking last year, and also for the age group as well. You couldn't see anything. We were just, okay, well, when is the wide shot going to go into the close up? And it never happened. So you could hear the commentator saying, okay, well, this person, it looks like they're going to win, and the other person took it, and it was not even ants. It was so small, so you couldn't see a thing.
No, it felt like the people on the stream, that they were also seeing the same camera angle as we were, and not even a better angle. And it felt like, I mean, we had Hugo Jansson in the teenage division. He came second. And I mean, that's a historical thing, but we never got to watch it.
No.
Unless you followed his family on Instagram, because they live streamed it. But
that's the same way. So that obviously will be much better this year, because we'll have the media team from the main games. And I think that that's why it's not happening at the same time as the CrossFit Games for the elites, is that it will free up the audience, and it will also free up the media team to cover it in a better way. So I think that's a good thing. But I think some of the, like the Buttery brothers and some of these other YouTubers are starting to give a lot more coverage to the adaptive divisions. And I think that that can only be good. And HWPO working with Rogan, bringing him out from Australia to America to come and train with Katrin Davidsdottir and everyone else. I mean, for me, I feel a great amount of pride and a representation to see, you know, sort of these huge athletes working out alongside someone in the adaptive division who definitely can prove to everyone that we can do as much as everyone else. I think those kind of moves are going to boost. As soon as people are watching HWPO workouts on YouTube and they see this guy with one leg working out alongside, I think that's going to spark curiosity and make people realize that, okay, there is this other side of the competition that is also very exciting as well. I think when you see, there's one guy called Victor, who is one of the coaches over at Wheelwad. He has one arm and he does a rope climb that's better than most people that can do with two arms. I mean, he just flies up the rope. And to see it is actually, your jaw just drops just watching how skilled he is. And again, when he's doing a snatch or a clean and jerk or something like that, I mean, the numbers are huge. He can lift so much weight, but just so skilled. And I think if people have the opportunity to see that sort of thing, then it will spark that interest and a different kind of interest as well.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I would. I was supposed to ask something, but now I sort of got lost here. But
that's I'm talking too fast.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I actually agree with you in all those points, and I think a lot of more media coverage will do a lot of work, both for adaptive, for masters, for teenage, and I think that will help a lot. By the way, I saw just the other day or the other week, there is a company, I think it's Concept 2, I'm not sure, working with people in wheelchairs and how to better set up for rowing. So they sort of like attach it to the wheelchair in a way that makes it easier to row.
Very
I
cool.
think a lot of people before had just put like a big sandbag in front, like taken off one of the halves of the rower and put a sandbag in front, and so that's pretty cool that they're making like equipment that will help with adaptive athletes. And that's also a question I have when it comes to equipment. And maybe you cannot answer this, but for example, people with one arm and they're gonna snatch, is there any rules when it comes to Wheelwad or Wodapalooza's competitions or any other competitions that you have to snatch with only your functional arm, or can you get like an attachment to your non-functional arm, or how does that work?
I think
like those kind of equipments, not just for the arm but for like if legs as well. Is there any rules for what type of equipment you're allowed to get help from, so to say?
Sure. It's some of it is standardized, and some of it with the I don't know so much about the upper category, but I know that like it's the same 1 point of contact, 2 point of contact. So one point of contact would mean they were snatching just with the one arm. 2 point of contact might mean that they have maybe less range of motion in the other arm, so they might be snatching with both arms but an angle, for example. But they would be in a different category, and so maybe in a different weight. Maybe they're snatching a different weight in that workout, for example. But I know with deadlifts, for example, they would all have a strap, which is a standardized strap. but I don't think that there is a manufacturer that they have to go to. There's an amazing company called Equipped Products who work alongside Willward, and they come up with solutions to make it possible for people with disabilities to do some of the movements that otherwise they wouldn't be able to do. So they've been working with Concept 2 for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had something to do with this promotion that they're doing now. But yeah, Equipped Products are an amazing company, very, very good. But they also make, for example, for the double unders and all of the skipping movements, then they make the rope with the stick in the middle, and then so then they can do the double unders with just one handle. It's insane. It's so fun to watch as well. Very good.
I've seen those actually, and I think it's pretty interesting because they are starting to get into the elite competition as well, like to basically jump with a stick in the middle instead of two handles, and
very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very, very cool.
Have you seen the wheelchair ones? So they also make the ones with the wheelchairs. So it's like a weighted handle rope on each side. And so they did a challenge at the last Waterpalooza where they were making everyone go against Kevin Ogar. He set the record. I think it was 90 seconds to see how many of these wheelchair double unders that they could do. And I think no one beat him, of course, but but all these able-bodied people trying something that's designed for disabled people, and then not being able to do as good as the adaptive people, it's hard not to feel a bit proud of that. So
yeah. I saw was it Colton Mertens? He got to train with like he had got to see how it's like to snatch in a wheelchair as well.
Cool.
Yeah, and
that's the sort of thing.
Yeah, I think he was like the guy teaching him. He snatched 80 something kilos or 185 pounds or something like that in a wheelchair. That's pretty impressive.
It's amazing.
Like you cannot use the big muscles, which are the legs basically, in a snatch when you're in a wheelchair. So snatching that much is impressive, very, very impressive. And the hip movement just to get under the bar is impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's impressive. And Colton Mertens I think he beat him, of course, but because he's a strong dude, but a fit dude, but wasn't by much. I don't remember exactly, or if he didn't beat him, but that was very impressive.
That's the sort of thing that I love to see. I just love to see. I mean, anyone using their fame to bring attention to the adaptive community, I think that's fantastic. Because I mean, I think a lot of people, for me, when I started doing CrossFit, the first gym I went to, the first box I went into, they looked at me like, I mean, obviously they'd never worked with anyone with a disability before, but they looked at me like they couldn't wait for me to leave soon enough. And they were worried about patronizing me, I think. So they didn't explain anything, but I was a complete newbie. And I didn't know what I did. I went way too heavy, as of course any beginner always does, with something that they thought they could do. I think I was doing some kind of jerk or something like that, push press maybe. And I really hurt my shoulder, and I stopped mid-workout. And when I left out, should I warm down or anything? They said, no, okay, well done. And that was it. That was my goodbye. And it stopped me from even trying CrossFit for another few months, I think, because I didn't have. It's much nicer to have someone to say, I don't really know what to do working with someone with a disability, but we can maybe work together and figure it out together. That's a much better attitude, I think, than just pretending that you know what you're doing and just too scared of saying anything, or basically just giving anything that's going to be discouraging, because it takes so much guts just to come into the gym when you're not sure that you can even do it at the beginning. So I think that's something that I would love to encourage. So that's why I want to do there's an adaptive training academy. They do a course called the adaptive and let me think what it's called. It's called the adaptive. Anyway, it's a course for working with people with all different kinds of disabilities. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, the idea of really knowing what equipment is available, the real proper way of adapting all the CrossFit exercises to make them possible. And
Yeah.
I want to have that knowledge when I am a coach for someone that's already a little bit scared about what am I doing here. I want to be the person that's like, okay, you're in the right place. We know what to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to do that course. I think it's I've got the information here. It's a 5-week online course, and it's adaptive and inclusive trainer is the name of the course.
All right. You could send me the information and I'll put it in the description as
Yeah,
well.
that would be great.
Sounds
That would be
interesting.
great.
I'll look it up and talk about it more because it sounds interesting. And I agree. I totally agree with you. Like, even if someone is an adaptive athlete or not an adaptive athlete, it takes guts to get into the gym. And sometimes it takes guts to get into the gym, even if you've been there before. And even if you've been there a long time and know everybody in the gym, it takes some guts. Some days are better and worse. And if you're completely new, yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get into the gym. And we who are in the gym, if you're a coach or not, I think we have to help new people get into the gym and help people feel welcomed. And by doing it in a way that, for example, if, as you said, I don't know a lot about how I can help you, but we'll figure it out together.
Mm.
I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, and I think that goes for everybody that has some kind of role in the gym. I think we have to be like that. And I like CrossFit because a lot of CrossFit gyms that I've been to, they are always welcoming. And as we say in Swedish, högt till tak, which basically means that in here we can talk. Yeah. So I think, I think a lot of CrossFit gyms in Sweden, at least, is very helpful with that. But we also get scared when we don't know what to do, I think.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that the example I gave, the first one that I went into, it was just a bad day, and maybe it was a new coach that didn't really know what to do, and so I've been back there since, and I can tell you that it wasn't that all the time. They were very happy to see me the next time that I came in. So it's nearly always such a supportive community. So that's why it's such a shame when it doesn't happen that way. I was just unlucky that day.
I guess, I mean, that's it's like that at every gym sometimes. I think I've actually experienced the same thing. Like, we had someone come in at the gym I used to work at before, but in a wheelchair, and asked for help, and we actually said we can try to help, but I didn't hear much from her later on. So I don't know if we did something wrong or whatever. But yeah, I think we weren't open enough that we didn't know much. I wasn't the actual coach, but I think about that sometimes. Like, how can we be very open to people that actually ask for help when we don't know how to help, so to say. And it's tough. We talked a little bit about your goals of hitting this semifinal. Tell me more. Like, the semifinals for adaptive divisions. Is it who qualifies? Who qualifies for the semifinals from open?
So I think it's this year. It'll be the top 20 in the world in each division that go to the semifinals, and then I think it's the top 10 that go to the finals from there.
Okay.
So it's still. I mean, it's still going to be very tough to make that top 20, but it's a lot better than the top 5 and going straight to the finals like last year. So, I mean, if I'm completely honest with myself, then top 20 is possible, but I know I have to train a lot, and then top 10 is, I mean, definitely a dream. So if I got to the finals, but I didn't compete last year very deliberately because I just became a father 8 months ago. And so I talked to my wife and we said no competitions, no international competitions for a year. But my daughter will become 1 in May. So then that's why I'm allowed to start training again.
I see.
So I have 3 days a week that I can train. So I take about 2 hours, 2.5 hours on each of those days. And that's my training plan for now. And then if there's extra, then I can do a little bit extra as well.
Yeah.
But so those are definitely my goals. So I'll be in Thailand with my family for the Open. So I'll be doing it in Koh Lanta. So that's going to be a different kind of experience altogether. So yeah, but apparently they have all the equipment that I might need apart from ski erg. So if a ski erg workout comes in the Open, let's hope not. But then I'll probably have to do a big road trip in the middle of my Thailand holiday.
All right. I see. I mean, it could come up in the Open actually, ski erg, but let's hope not, for your sake. And
exactly. But we'll see.
I would be surprised if it does. I mean, not all gym have a ski erg, and I don't think they prioritize getting a ski erg in the first place as well.
No, exactly.
But yeah, interesting. I mean, from what I've seen, you've been like top 30 something in the world as bet.
Yeah. So actually, in the last CrossFit, then I think I was the Open. I think I was that. But when we did the wheel wad, then I did much better. And so in my division, I think I'm in top 10 or when I'm fit. I think I finished 5th. I'm going to have to look it up because I always forget. But I finished 6th at wheel wad in 2022. So I just missed the podium. If I messed up single unders. It was so annoying. I'd been doing double under practice so much that I tripped on my single unders. And I think if I'd not tripped 2 times, then I would have podiumed that year, which would have been so nice. But so that's why I really want to think about my ultimate aim would be to podium. That would be my best thing ever. But yeah, that's why I'm really, really pushing this year. Maybe next year I won't be able to give it the same time and energy. We'll see. But I'm really hoping to get to the finals if I can. And then Marbella again. I finished 4th at Marbella, not last year, but the year before. So I definitely would love to podium there. A lovely competition with such nice people. And
I've heard.
So that would be, I think that's later on in the year anyway, maybe October or September.
Yeah, October or September, end of September, I've heard. Yeah.
A nice time to go to Marbella as well, when it's already cold here and it's still sunny there. So
yes, exactly, and not 45 degrees Celsius.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. So in order for you to get to the finals and to compete at wheel wad again, what needs to improve? Like what are your weaknesses? What do you need to focus extra on?
So if you ask Ted, he's going to say I need to lose the weight vest. I'm already about 1 or 2 kilos lighter than I was, but I can feel it so much when I'm hanging in the rig, the extra weight on my hands. It's been an effort to get my muscle ups back after gaining the extra weight. And so my gymnastics will be better when I'm lighter. So the idea is to lose the weight through running and metcons and do it that way. Obviously look at my diet a little bit. I started snacking, which I never used to do before, and drinking a lot of Letterl and Melan Earl. So that has to go as well. Too much couch time. I'm going to tighten up the nutrition. But I'm going to try and have these 3 sessions a week and be really, really organized with my time so that they're really effective. Not just 2 hours of chatting. Like I can be a bit like that sometimes. As you can tell, I talk too much. But to be a bit more efficient with my time, because I know that I have my wife and baby waiting at home for me. And so I need to be a bit more serious about that. And, okay, get in, do the work, get out, maybe if there's a bonus day, another day where I can go and hang out with friends, then I do that. Then when I go into the gym, it's all about the work. So I
I
think
understand.
that kind of attitude. So yeah, work on my engine. The engine needs to come back, and I've been very lazy with that because of the couch again, and sitting watching too much TV. So I'm doing a lot of rowing right now, a lot of rowing intervals, and that's a killer right now. But I think it's the biggest bang for your buck with getting back into shape, I think.
Yeah. I think I'm also a bit afraid of the rowing, so to say, because as you say, it's a killer, but it's a very effective way to get your fitness in. Like it's an easy apple to pick, so to say,
Yeah.
when you're in that position. I'm also sort of the same kind of weaknesses. I need to become better in the rig and in basically any pulling movements, in the muscle ups, for example, and stuff like that. So yeah, we're in the same boat, so to say. But I think it will be fun to see how you do, and we will hold our thumbs, as we say in Swedish.
I definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate all the support. It was so nice. I think I was when I was at Waterpalooza in Miami. I was there on my own. I got a last minute qualification, so
Okay.
only my wife was at home watching on TV, and it was so nice to see your messages and see all the support. On Instagram, made me feel a little bit less alone while I was
That's
there.
nice
So,
to hear. That's nice
yeah,
to hear. I mean, I strive to basically make CrossFit as big as possible, or not CrossFit, functional fitness in overall, like as big as possible in Sweden. And if I know of people who are doing well in the sport, I want to help others know about it, basically. And it's nice to hear that it also helps you as an athlete, to feel more at home, so to say. And that's a big part for me. I like. I mean, I'm a big fan of all you athletes. So what you do and how hard you work. I am actually. So that's why I'm doing this. I just love it.
well, it's very appreciated, definitely.
Yeah. I will. I want to thank you for hopping on and for joining. And
Thank you. It's been really fun, and nice to meet you finally.
yeah, the same. And hopefully we'll meet in person as well sometime.
That would be
Uh,
really nice.
Yeah. And I think if you are watching this and you have any questions to Hilton or to me, ask away. Comment in the comments below. Write a DM. Follow Hilton. I will actually, before we leave this, I should have done this in the start. I think I can. Let's see. What are your what is your Instagram basically?
Okay. So my Instagram is Dr. Hiltz, but it's DRHILTZ.
Yeah, like this, right? Let's see if like
There
that.
we go. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have done that in the start. I'm so sorry.
No. I should have done that.
Yeah. So
I'm very new with this StreamYard, so
yeah, me too. But we'll get the hang of it, and I will obviously tag you in everything I put out about this, so people can follow you there, right? And
yes. And also, I just started a YouTube channel.
all right.
Actually, following my hopeful journey to the games. That's the plan. But how I balance that with being a new father and an amputee as well, and just turning 50. So it's a
Nice.
lot of things at the same time. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I just need to find that balance in the middle. So I thought, why not make a YouTube channel and follow the progress there? So
I mean,
yeah,
document your journey is always a sort of motivational thing, right? And I think it's for us watching, it will be even more interesting to follow you now. And yeah, so people should follow Hilton, and yeah, we'll see you on the leaderboards, so to say.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. I will stop the recording here.
Thank you.
See ya.
This was really fun. See
Yeah.
you.
Thank